Righty ho, we are off on the road. Welcome back to another episode of Mind Before Coffee, where I followed the most ridiculous idea I ever had, and that was to start a podcast literally as I am driving on my way to drop my kid off at school before I go to work. Most ridiculous idea I've ever had, and that I actually acted upon. I get a lot of ridiculous ideas, and this one I actually decided to act on, which I still can't believe that I acted on this idea and decided that this was a good idea. So you get basically a raw, real podcast episode, no editing, no filters, no. I mean, I might if if I have the willpower, the time, and the energy, I might add some like noise reduction on it or something, so that you don't have to listen to my ridiculous indicator clicker. But if I don't, I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm out here trying to hustle and create content as authentic as possible, because apparently that's what people want. So I'm like, well, what's more authentic than an indicator clicker and me yabbering on about absolute bullshit? I mean, not all of it's bullshit, but at least I don't think all of it's bullshit. So welcome back. I was thinking about what I wanted to chat about today, and I realized that in the mornings, before I do these little recordings, I need to at least come up with, I can't press record and then just try and pull something out of my ass. I mean, I could probably, but I need at least one thing that I would like to discuss, so that I've at least got some sort of substance in this podcast. It's ridiculous. I don't think I can even call this a podcast. Let's be honest. I don't think I can even call it a podcast. But anyway, I digress. So I was thinking about this morning, I was thinking about how I was dealing with certain things over the last couple of weeks, specifically social media. Excuse me, I'm also recovering from a cold. So, again, authentic, right? What do you call that? And so I have recently, for those of you who are jumping on, I'm truly hoping you're jumping on because you want to listen to somebody rant about wellness things and cycle syncing and holistic living and weird cleanses and shit like that. So this is where we're going with it. So we're already jumping on. We're 3 minutes into this recording, and we're already talking about periods, because that's what I talk about it a lot. Okay. Now, I just started my cycle a couple of days ago. Okay, so those of you listening that bleed from their vaginas every month, you would know. Here around day 2, day 3, we know what we're experiencing. Okay, we know that we're in the thick of it, but we also, once we've started our cycles, it's essentially day 1 of our cycle when you start bleeding. Okay. There we introduce my beautiful son into this podcast as well. So we'll see how well he does this morning. Bless his heart. So the first day you start bleeding, that's the first day of your cycle. Okay. Now, most of the time, once you've started your period, a few days into your period, especially once the really horrible symptoms have started, so usually this is the average, right? Women will have day 2 and 3, maybe sometimes 4, where you bleed a lot heavier, you're a lot more tired, there's some of the not so lacquer or not so nice symptoms, and then things start lifting. On top of that, your cycle has started, so a lot of your luteal symptoms will start fading away. Okay, especially now that the cycle is pretty, like, you're bleeding, and you're on your way out of your cycle, essentially. I don't know. When I'm on like day 3, I feel like I'm in the thick of it. I do not feel like I'm heading out of this. Okay, so I managed to do a little edit because there was a little issue on the road. So we're going back and we just backtracking slightly. So we're talking about the cycle. Okay, so usually once you kind of like in your cycle, in your bleed, part of your cycle, and a lot of your luteal symptoms start lifting. Okay, especially those who struggle with PMS, especially those who struggle with PMDD. Your symptoms will lighten. Those from your bleed, basically. Now, I was looking back at the last couple of weeks. Now, with doing a lot of deep diving, I'm on a complete, healing journey at this point in time. I myself dealt with hypothyroidism and overactive thyroid, PCOS, which I discovered several years ago, and I since then had become a holistic nutritionist. I healed myself. I got, better. I managed my symptoms completely naturally. I was doing incredibly well. Fell pregnant. And then, the journey of postpartum and running a business takes a toll on the body. And I was not looking after my body. I didn't know. Not that I didn't know. I don't think I was prepared to take care of my body postpartum. And I think this is probably something that a lot of new moms can relate to. The concept of looking after yourself during postpartum is just almost not a thought, because all we're thinking about is caring for our newborn, right? So currently now a year and a half postpartum for me, and I'm stepping back into basically the protocols and the steps and the processes that I went through, that I did 3 years ago to heal myself. I'm doing that now again because my PCOS has flared up. I haven't checked my thyroid. I think it's okay. So we're keeping an eye, but if I feel like I need to go get some tests done, I will. But other than that, I pretty much know where I stand. So just basically putting those systems back into place and going through a lot of deep dives, further deep dives, because now I am post being sick, post being healed, and then also studying, being 2 years into my career as a nutritionist. We're falling deeper and deeper into different rabbit holes when it comes to helping clients and helping ourselves, which it's a lot easier for me to help my clients than it is to help myself. But I think that's a whole nother story in itself. And what I am realizing through a lot of the deep dives and the studies and whatnot is that my hormones have gotten quite a bit out of whack. This is just purely based on my symptoms. They are, I feel personally, a lot worse than what they were before I started healing myself the first time, which makes me slightly nervous. And then on top of that, I'm noticing a lot now that, the last year I've been really deep diving and working with a lot of women with cycle syncing. There's a lot more things that I'm learning and seeing and experiencing and, coaching with my clients that I'm seeing in myself, that my luteal phase it's out of control. It's out of control. She'd be mad. My progesterone, bless. I don't think, yeah, that's a whole other story. So the concept that I had been doing is I've been tracking my cycle now for, years. And I've been really paying a lot more attention to it over the last 3 months. And something that I noticed the last or that kind of hit me deadpan in the face, was how I was reacting on social media now in the past 2 weeks. And it only really hit me now that I started my cycle, because I don't know for if this is something that a lot of women experience, but when you are in your luteal phase and you are experiencing, the common but not right symptoms, like anxiety, depression, the more mental scope, you don't really realize that you experiencing this until you start bleeding and you come out on the other end and you're like, oh, hang on a second, like, wow, like, what was my brain doing for the last 2 weeks? Oh my goodness gracious me. We're having lunch boxes fly everywhere. My goodness. Okay, let's pack the lunchbox away. So we're experiencing, I don't know for some women if they experience this as well, like you don't realize you've got more negative thoughts, or you're feeling more down than usual, or you're not justifying in the moment that, oh, I'm thinking like this because I'm in my luteal phase and I'm just not balancing or cycling correctly. So the anxiety is hitting me harder. And I'm saying this because that was my experiences last week. Like I'm mid-bleed now, and I'm going to myself, oh, hang on a second. Like, I really realized 2 weeks ago I was incredibly short-tempered in the sense that everything was annoying me. And then the week after that, like this past week, just before my bleed, the only thing I was consumed about was this concept of imposter syndrome. And I'm sitting here going, I'm putting all this content out. I'm working really hard on my business, and I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like what I have to say and what I know is not valid. And who is going to listen to me? Who am I to stand there and tell people or tell women to cycle sync and to do, X, Y, and Z? Like, I'm still a very new nutritionist. In the grand scheme of things, I've been in the fitness and wellness industry for almost 15 years now. This is my career. This is all I've ever done. Yet 15 years down the line, and my progesterone gets a little whacked out, and girls experiencing imposter syndrome the week before her period. And I, in some sense, have these thoughts, and it's kind of like, that's a bit ridiculous, but like I realized that I hadn't spent a lot of time on social media because I was feeling very low and very down about myself. And I think this is maybe a good lesson, I guess, for the younger generation. As millennials, we didn't grow up with social media, right? We only got social media, for some of us, in our teens, early 20s, right? Just depending on when you were born. And so we've never really had a reliance on it, right? For most millennials, we either use it or we don't. And I think for the younger generation, it's been they've grown up with it. They don't know life without social media, for some, right? And so for me I don't want to really spend time on social media this week. I'm not feeling so great. I understand that for some people it's not that easy because they don't know life without social media. But it's definitely something that is worth considering, especially if you're a woman and you are struggling with your hormones. They're not balanced. You're not, optimizing your phases, and you are struggling with PMS symptoms, that week before your period, and you're going, we've got a guest on our podcast today, and you've got these these PMS symptoms, and you struggle with anxiety and whatnot before your cycle. Like, spending time on social media is probably not a good thing. I definitely know that I am, the week before my cycle, being on social media very much feeds into my imposter syndrome, feeds into my anxiety, feeds into my like lowest sense of self, especially now that I know that progesterone's not hitting as nice as what it should. So she's not helping me out as much as she could. Things aren't, my hormones aren't 100% right now, which will change 6 months down the line. It will look a lot different. I know that. I've been there, done that, so I know that that's going to be the case. And I know that post-bleed, follicular ovulation phase, spending time on social media is brilliant for me. I get inspired. I'm, more interactive. I'm more involved because there's a lot more to be excited about. I'm more confident in myself. Like, I don't ever experience imposter syndrome in the first 2 weeks of my cycle. I don't. It's just not a thing, right? And that is just something that I had noticed this morning, literally this morning. I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? And I'm like, actually, this is a really good point. Like, just looking back at the last 2 weeks and seeing how I've reacted to things has been quite interesting, to say the least. And I'm sure that there are a lot of women out there that can relate to this, especially in the sense that, I'm back kind of in essence to square one. I've got a lot of healing to do. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of women in my position that are struggling with their cycles and that are feeling this way. So that was just my, I guess, random thought before coffee. And that thought was legitimately before coffee. I have had a cup of coffee though. Right, so with that all said, I think it's probably a good time to close this podcast, this episode off. I just dropped my little kiddo off at school, and I am literally 2 minutes away from work, 2 minutes from the studio. So I am going to be heading in to go take a few clients. I've got a really exciting pole class that I'm doing, and I've got three pole classes. I've got 3 pole classes this morning. So I'm taking 3 one-on-one pole sessions this morning, and then I'll also be recording some fitness classes for you guys, nice and gentle, because I'm currently on my cycle. So I will not be doing anything crazy. So you guys can expect a nice, relaxed, chill, like a low flow aerial or like a PMS Pilates class or something coming out in the next couple of weeks. That being said, if you are interested in online classes, I do express online classes. They drop every single week on my YouTube channel, Koi Wellness. I will leave the links down below. So I drop fitness classes every single week. They are tailored to be suitable for certain phases of your cycle. So if you are interested in cycle syncing and you're a bit lost at what kind of exercise to do when, you can go check out the YouTube channel and find the classes for whichever phase you're in. So you can expect things like PMS Pilates for your cycle, stretch classes when you are bleeding, and then we've got, your more exciting, full body workouts and whatnot for your follicular ovulation phase. So all the classes are kind of designed for a phase or 2 of your cycle. So you can go check that out on my YouTube channel. I also drop no bullshit breathing exercises on there as well. So if you need to breathe before you literally wallop a crystal at someone's head, go there. Go there. It's the 5 minutes. It's a little bit sassy. It's not it's not your average breathing exercise, okay? It's definitely not your average breathing exercise. I'm not all soft and sweet. And I go, just take a nice deep breath in. I'm like, just breathe at the end of the day. It's just about breathing. So it's definitely not a meditation. I don't know if you guys can tell there's a theme right here. I don't do meditations. I just tell you to fucking breathe. I don't do podcasts. I just ramble. I just turn a microphone on and go. So we are going against the grain here as best as we can. So you can go check those out over on the YouTube channel. Like I said, they drop every single week. I drop videos, fitness videos, breathing exercises, and deep dives on different topics of hormone health, gut health, detoxing, and biohacking. And but then you can check me out on the other social medias where I, continue to blabber on bullshit